25th of May 2024. Hi guys, welcome to Rants, the comedy and tragedy of living in Singapore. First, a tragedy. One passenger was killed and scores injured after a Singapore Airlines flight from London to Singapore encountered severe turbulence. SQ321, which left London's Heathrow Airport at 10:38 p.m. local time on the 20th of May, had to make an emergency landing in Bangkok. 20 people remain in intensive care in the Thai capital after the terrifying high-altitude ordeal. The casualties include 6 Britons, 6 Malaysians, 3 Australians, 2 Singaporeans, and 1 person each from Hong Kong, New Zealand, and the Philippines. The aircraft is a Boeing 777-300ER. It hit what an airline official described as sudden extreme turbulence while it was flying over Myanmar. The Thai hospital reported that 17 surgeries have already been performed, 9 spinal surgeries and 8 for other injuries. The youngest patient is a 2-year-old. Singapore Airlines Chief Executive Goh Choon Phong has apologized for the traumatic experience and expressed condolences to the family of the deceased. Photos taken inside the plane after it landed in Bangkok showed the cabin in chaos. Food, drinks, luggage were strewn all over the floor, and oxygen masks were dangling from the ceiling. A relief flight took 131 passengers and 12 crew members to Singapore's Changi Airport to continue their journeys or to return home. An Australian passenger whose wife was severely injured told the press that there was no warning. They went into free fall, rising to the ceiling, and then they were slammed onto the floor of the aircraft. Of course, this is probably an unexpected accident that nobody wants. For some comic relief on a tragic event, let's have a look at our one and only Channel News Asia, and they have some expert advice for passengers. One expert says that we should control our liquid intake to minimize visits to the restroom during a flight, and that would reduce the likelihood of queuing at the toilet when turbulence hits, as if people drink more than they need to and enjoy going to the toilet. How about distributing diapers before boarding? Now, somebody who is not an expert suggested turning the cabin into a sauna. Make the passengers sweat so much that they won't need to go to the toilet no matter how much they drink. Well, I prefer the non-expert idea. What about you? Now, another factor that can affect your risk of injury is seat selection. Our experts tell us that those seated near the wings will experience marginally less turbulence, and seats near the galley should be reserved for people we don't like. Our expert is simply suggesting that we let someone else take the risk. Another expert advises passengers who are standing when the plane encounters turbulence to maintain a low profile, most likely by crouching. Take cover, like what the army taught us. We're talking about the army. 24th of May was the 41st death anniversary of Private Tham Wai Keong, who died during a route march at ITD Pulau Tekong in 1983. In the span of 4 decades, much salt and pepper had been added to the circumstances surrounding Tham Wai Keong's death. Without knowing or mentioning his name, cohort after cohort of recruits at Pulau Tekong had been telling the story about this recruit who went missing during a route march and was found with his belly slit open and his internal organs laid out for inspection. Now, the gory details made a very good story among bored recruits. The truth is, of course, a lot more mundane than that. Now, it's okay if future cohorts of recruits keep telling the story, but we should all be aware of the truth and the facts. Wai Keong was my secondary schoolmate. which means that he would be 60 if he was still alive today. He was the studious boy in the next class, and I remember he was in the St. John ambulance uniform group. After our O-levels, he went to Hwa Chong and I went to NJC. I was enlisted in December 1982. He was enlisted in March 1983, and his passing out would have been in June 1983. Now, on 23rd of May 1983, his company did the 16 km route march. It was the second route march after the 8 km and before the 24 km. 136 soldiers from his company started off at 4 p.m. There's nothing unusual. We always started our route marches late in the afternoon. Wai Keong's platoon was at the tail end. Now, contrary to what Facebook page called Deaf Kopitiam mentioned, Wai Keong was not an officer cadet. His platoon mate William, who was an officer cadet during the trial, recounted that Wai Keong was already unable to keep up after some 5 kilometers into the march. He helped Wai Keong up a long slope and caught up with the platoon, but didn't see him again. The company ended the route march at about 8 p.m. Appallingly, he was only missed at 9:30 p.m. It was only then that the search began. The commanders claimed to have done 2 head counts, and on both occasions, the total number of soldiers counted was correct. Or so they said. Wai Keong's body was found in the bushes 20 meters from the track at about 5:15 p.m., more than 24 hours after it disappeared. Now, if you believe that there was no negligence on the part of the commanders, then it's tempting to believe in something supernatural at work here. Now, I remember that once I was training in the jungle with my men, when they claimed to have spotted someone coming towards us holding a torchlight. I saw that there was indeed a light coming towards us. I went towards it to investigate. It turned out to be a firefly. But under the suggestion of others, it really looked as if someone was walking towards us with a torchlight. Now, why did 2 head counts fail to show Wai Keong's absence? The explanation may be more mundane than what fans and tellers of ghost stories might suggest. Not long after this tragic incident, I ran into a former classmate who also went to Hwa Chong and was in the same company as Wai Keong. He told me exactly what was later revealed in the trial. Wai Keong's body was facing upward with his SBO and helmet still in place. He was clutching his M16 rifle between his legs. The muzzle was filled with mud. His full pack and uncapped water bottle was found at a nearby bush. There was no sign of any struggle. Now, the part about his organs being laid out is totally untrue. I was told that he had bruises on his chest and abdomen. From the evidence, he was most likely to have been beaten to death with the stick of his entrenching tool, which usually sticks out from the full pack and can be easily drawn out. This is a plausible explanation, as during training back then, I had personally encountered violent villagers who accused us of trespassing. Before the passage of time, the theory in our minds was that Wai Keong was assaulted by some mentally deranged villager. How things have morphed into the macabre tale today was beyond our imagination back then. Although his name is never mentioned when this horribly distorted and exaggerated story is being told and retold, we need to realize that all this embellishment is at Wai Keong's expense, especially to people who know him. Now, in conclusion, I would like to add a disclaimer. Even though I'm aware of the facts, I do not have first-hand knowledge. Those who marched with him or discovered his body may wish to come forward and tell us what they actually saw at the scene. I don't know what will happen to the horror story after that, but who cares? By the way, SIA is a good airline. I'll fly with them more often if they are less expensive. That's all I have for you in this video. Do like, share and subscribe to my channels. Don't let the wrong folks become influencers and the wrong things go viral. Have an awesome weekend.